Kelsey, you have an unusual path, to say the least. So we were just talking before the recording started that you were a nurse. You've been doing that for a while, and then now you're starting your own snacks companies. So I'm just curious, how do you go from this to that? And how did you get the courage to like jump into a field that's not really what you do on a day to day?
That is the important piece. Well, basically, my whole story is basically I started as a nurse. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I even my friends called me the nurse of the group, like even before I studied. So it just made sense. I took care of my father while he was sick. It just made sense, and I really love my job as a nurse. I was an ICU nurse, and suddenly I got very, very sick. The medical system was not helping me. The system I was working in was failing me, and it felt kind of off. And I started taking matters into my own hands, taking my own medical journey into my own hands, and finally got diagnosed with a very rare autoimmune disease that basically made me allergic to everything I ate. Like literally everything was reacting in my body. So I went through very restrictive diets trying to reset my immune system. Nothing really worked. Medication wasn't working. Eventually, my doctors told me I had to eliminate food completely to reset my immune system. So I went on it was supposed to be 30 days, but it ended up being more like 45. No food at all. I was on like the adult version of baby formula, and it was disgusting and it was horrible. And I posted my entire journey on social media just to keep myself accountable more than anything. Because the treatment that I was going through, even the studies showed that it worked, but 60% of the people doing the study failed because they couldn't keep up because it was too exhausting and disgusting. So I just knew that the studies showed it worked, so I had to keep pushing, and that's what I did. And it really worked. Like it resetted my whole immune system. I'm still suffering from that disorder, but it's medicated now and more controlled. But all of that journey really made me more aware of what triggered that disorder. And I reacted to basically every preservative that is in the foods, and all of our gluten is already, all of our wheat, all of our food supply is contaminated with so many preservatives and just toxic additives. So I had to like really, really, really go clean label for everything. And when you do that, you notice that there's not much left. And I started cooking, and I have a sweet tooth. So that's what led me to creating my own snacks. And never in my life I thought it would be a business. But my husband is the entrepreneur in the group, and he saw the idea. We were bringing back basically like a childhood snack that we grew up with.
So, Kelsey, when you identified the problem and you went out in the supermarket and you became more vigilant and started looking at the ingredients, what it contains, did you really feel that something was missing, that it was very difficult to find the right stuff? Or is it just that there was a few options, but didn't taste good, didn't look good? Like, how did you come to the decision that, you know what, there's a clear opportunity, I want to tackle this?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I would say like there are options, but I'm picky. I'm a picky eater too, so like that doesn't help. But I really have like a sweet tooth, and all the clean label stuff are more, they're labeled as healthy, and they're not indulgent. They're not, you don't feel like it's a cheat meal, You don't get that feeling. So I wanted to bring that back, and that's why we started brainstorming, because I was making everything myself at home. So we started brainstorming, my husband and I, on vacation, like just what are we missing? And we came up on our favorite childhood snack that we both grew up eating. It's basically like a snack pack of cookies and frosting. So we just decided to make different flavors of frosting and making cookies, and actually tasted good eventually. Not the first few times, but eventually. And we noticed that there was none of that on the market right now, other than the company that is really, really big, controlled by General Mills. So, you know, we're like, maybe we can try to make a little bit of difference. And since that is so popular, maybe people will like ours too.
You know what, you said that the first couple of tries it didn't taste great. Do you mean like you were actually experimenting with, you know,
I
you
was making everything on my own.
okay.
Yeah, I was making everything on my own. And then uh, for a few flavors, it was good because we have peanut butter fudge, birthday cake, and key lime pie. And oddly, the key lime pie was the best success, and that's the one that we have the most trouble nowadays to bring back the real flavor that I had in my kitchen when we're mass producing it. It's tricky because, the process is very different when you mass produce something, but we're getting there.
Awesome. And then I saw you have a co-founder. I'm sure, should I assume that's it's your husband?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
He's the business mind behind this whole operation. Yeah.
I mean, since we started this conversation, it really sounds that you guys are dealing with this in a very natural way, like in a very organic way. You probably have like you're growing, now you have different set of problems, so you're figuring, things out as you go. So how's that relationship? Do you separate personal and professional? Do you guys have each of you have tasks? You said he's the business guy. So do you define different roles or is it just, husband and wife, we deal with everything together?
Sadly, we don't. I think we should, but we don't. We wear every single hat pretty much together. At first, I was still working full time as a nurse, so he laid down, the foundation of the business and kind of explained everything to me as we went on. And just in February this year, I went full time on on the company. So since then, I feel like not only did it bring us closer, but we never turn it off. I don't know if it's healthy or not, but we go to bed, we wake up, we go to the gym, and like we go on walks, and it's just constant. That's our only topic. But at the same time, it just makes everything go faster and smoother because we're always, even when we disagree, like by the end of the day, we have a decision made. So I'm not sure I can recommend that to everybody. Some days are harder than others, but right now I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up with the knowledge and just listening to podcasts and just learning about the food industry because it's so foreign to me. But I think I'm doing pretty good so far in a very short amount of time.
I mean, that's so recent. I mean, February is just like barely a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
How was the transition? Because I gotta ask, you've worked for years and as a nurse, and then leaving this behind. I mean, it must have been a bit difficult, even though this is something you love and enjoy and you talk about it all the time. But was it difficult to just leave that behind and like jump into something completely different?
It was because I liked I got not even that I got used to the routine of being a nurse. I got used to the 12-hour shifts, and now I have to say I'm trying to be really, really focused on myself, but like my overall well-being. So I try to sleep better, the things that I couldn't necessarily do as a nurse because of my schedule. So I feel like I work out more, I sleep better. So that really helped. But the transition was hard because I felt like all the weight of the world was on my shoulders because I had to keep up and I had to learn about all the financial terms and we're pitching investors and I'm here like, hey, I'm just a nurse. But I think our story is also very appealing to investors, and I try to really build on that. And we're trying to be a founder-led brand, so we're working to bring our story to the public to for them to see.
Yeah. But I have to disagree on that point. You're not just a nurse. I mean, do you know the
Well,
amount.
in meetings, I felt like that.
Yeah, but like I mean, the biggest step, and I told you before we started recording, I've talked to a lot of people, and every one of them started from some place which was so different from where they are today. And the only difference between the people that, like you, that opened the company, their own company, and the ones that are just stuck in their job is that they had the courage to do it. And this by itself is a lot. I mean, it's a huge step. And people tend to just skip over it and be like, yeah, I mean, anyone can do it. But the truth is, no, very few people actually do it. So I think you should really congratulate yourself to have the
I'll
courage to actually take
congratulate
this
my
step.
husband because he's the one who really had to reframe it because I was very nursing is a very secure job, steady income. I was doing great and um I liked helping people, and he had to reframe it for me to really leave everything behind. He's like, but imagine how many people we can help with like a good product that actually brings benefits to people. And when he framed it like that, I was like, okay, yeah, I feel like that can that can do a difference, and it just gives me that boost of motivation that people necessarily don't have. I think it's just we all have it. It's more that little switch in your brain that's like there is a purpose in that path.
Sure. So tell me, what is the situation today? Where are you guys today? You talked about pitching to investors, you talked about launching soon. So what is the current state of the company?
Right now, we are finalizing the little final tweaks on the actual formulation. We also are still raising money. We're reserving last part of the chunk we're raising for very strategic investors. We're working with a branding agency to do all of our branding because our company is called Binge Snacks currently, and somehow we thought it was a good name, like binge on healthy snacks. But social media disagrees. Instagram keeps shutting down our account because it's too triggering and they think we're kind of inciting people to binge eat. So we're changing the name. So that will be revealed very soon with the new branding. And yeah, we're setting up everything in the background, like manufacturing. We're buying machines because the machines we need to press the cookies, nobody has them. So we're learning about that and dealing with, overseas just and now with the tariffs, we're learning about all of that. So we're laying the foundation so we can hopefully launch. Our target launch right now is February 2026. So hopefully everything goes well by then. And yeah.
Kelsey, I'm gonna end with this. It's been a few months that you're all in into this. So I'm gonna ask you right now, what is the next big milestone you're looking for that will allow you to mentally tell yourself that, you know what, this is a turning point. This is this changes everything. What's that milestone you're looking forward to?
I mean, seeing my product on shelves, that would be that's the goal. That's the goal. We're planning everything, our branding, like just so it stands out on the shelf. The name, just I won't say it because it's not revealed yet, but it's somewhat controversial. So I feel like whether you like it or not, you're still gonna talk about it. So that's the attitude that we have, and hopefully it comes to life. We're already on in talks with retailers, but as a startup, it's very hard to just, we have no sales right now. We're not selling anywhere. So it's hard to kind of convince, but some people are interested. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Kelsey, love the story, love the attitude. Thank you so much for doing this. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you for having me.